Keir Starmer began his part in questioning the Prime Minister with a reference to the problem in Gaza and Israel and the pause in fighting, the effective ceasefire, the truce, whatever we want to call it. And he picks up a really good point. Both the Prime Minister and Keir Starmer began by referencing this. Let's hear first of all the Prime Minister's comment, which is fairly bland.
Mr. Speaker, I know the thoughts of the whole House will be with the family and friends of the 4 teenagers who died in a car accident in North Wales. And Mr. Speaker, I'm sure we'll touch on it later, but let me just say we welcome the agreement reached overnight for a humanitarian pause in Gaza. This is something that we have consistently pushed for and is a crucial step towards ending the nightmare for families of those taken hostage in Hamas's terror attack and also addressing the humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
And now what Keir Starmer says.
Position, Keir Starmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Like the Prime Minister, I know the whole House will welcome the agreement reached overnight. We repeat our calls for Hamas to release all hostages immediately. This humanitarian pause must be used to get the hostages out safely, to tackle the urgent and unacceptable humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza, and to make progress to a full cessation of hostilities. Mr. Speaker, in recent years, the international community has treated the two-state solution as a slogan rather than a serious strategy, and that must now change. Like the Prime Minister, I'm sure I speak for everyone in the House in saying our hearts go out to the families and friends of the 4 young men from Shrewsbury who tragically lost their lives this week. It's a living nightmare for any parent, and I can hardly begin to imagine their loss.
And to follow up his point about the slogans, yes, we're too in love with slogans. Slogans need to point to action, and he needs to put his money where his mouth is, or rather, that's not quite the right expression in this case. He needs to put his mouth to his meaning. And a slogan is pointless unless it has the power to deliver. And walking down the street chanting a slogan is not going to affect anything until it's followed up by the reality of action. And what we need in Gaza is a concerted plan of action, one thing after another, towards one goal. The goal is not a ceasefire, the goal is peace. A ceasefire is part of that process. So now we need to renew efforts towards peace. And having got effectively the ceasefire, though it's caused the pause, are we now going to be satisfied with that? No, we're not. We have to keep moving forward, and we have to be inching forward and demanding more of Israel, demanding more of Hamas until peace is reached. And we can't stand still, and we can't be satisfied by waving slogans. As I say, I don't think slogans are helpful. I think debate is helpful, and real engagement is helpful.